This video, I'm going to go over the cd command, and it's one of the most common commands you'll use in terminal. So I assume that you probably know how it works anyway. But regardless, I'm going to go over the basics of it. But afterwards, I'm going to explain some shortcuts and flags that you might have not seen before. So hopefully this video will teach you something new. Okay, so the cd command stands for change directory, and as it says in the name, it allows you to move to another directory or folder in the terminal. For example, if we use pwd, we'll see the current path we're in, and the last bit here represents the directory we're currently in. So we're currently in the guest directory, and we could also use ls to see other directories and files. So in this case, we could see one directory called D1. And inside D1, there's a D2 and then a D3 and so on. So it will go from D1 up till D8, just for some context throughout this video. And to change directory or to change folders, we just simply do cd D1. And when we do pwd, you'll see that we changed directory to D1, so our path changed. Again, that was just the basics. Now we'll go over some shortcuts. And the first shortcut is to go back up a directory or to go to a parent directory. In this case, we want to go back to the guest directory, so to go up one. And to do that, we just simply do cd ... and we're back in the original path. We can also nest it. We could do cd D1 and then cd D2. This is the current path we're in. And if we want to go back to guest, we could do this cd ... So we nested the command, and what this does is what this is doing is basically it goes from D2 to D1 and then D1 to guest, and we're back in the path we wanted to be in. Another shortcut you could use is to go to the root directory, and to do that we just do cd / and that brings us to the root directory. So if we do pwd, you'll see that we're at the top, and also you could also just do ls and you'll see folders that are typically in the root directory. To stay in the current directory, you just do cd . So yeah, you just stay where you currently are. It's just useful to know because, for example, you might see a tutorial where it says, oh, execute the script .script.sh, for example. When I first saw this, I was like, okay, what does this mean? But now you know, right? It means from the current directory, execute script.sh. This path is special because this is the user's home path or the guest's home path, and you'll find yourself typically CDing back to this path. Because you'll typically CD back to the home path quite a lot, there's a shortcut for that as well. And we could just look at this for example. So let's say we went to the D2 directory. Instead of doing cd ... there's a faster way to do it. We could just do cd tilde, and that brings us back to the home path. Another thing we could also do is just write cd and that's it, and that'll also bring you back to the home path as well. If there are other users in your system, there's also a shortcut to cd to their home directories as well. I meant their home paths. And to do that, you just do cd spacebar tilde and then the name of the user. So I've created another user called new. So I just typed new, and now I'll cd into their home path as so. So we're in their home path now. New. We can also there's also a shortcut to go to the previous directory you were just in. For example, let's say I was in the D3 directory to begin with. So this is our starting point. And then we go to the D5 directory. And we're like, okay, I want to go back to the D3 directory now. Instead of doing this command, you could just do cd minus like this. And that brings you back to the previous directory you just in, so D3. And if you want to go back to D5, the D5 directory, you just do minus again. Because and that works because D5 was the previous directory we were just in. Finally, you could make your own custom shortcuts as well by using shell variables. Behind the scenes, most of the shortcuts I just showed you use shell variables. For example, we use cd tilde, and that behind the scenes was basically doing this, cd $home. We could see this with the echo command. So if we do echo $home, you'll see that this is the home path we kept going to when we did cd tilde all the time. And same with cd minus 2. Let's say I was in D1. Now we know the previous path is this, home guest. And yeah, if we do cd minus, we'll go to the home path. And behind the scenes, cd minus is basically doing cd $old path, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, it was actually echo $old pwd. And you'll see that it stored the previous path we were just in. As I mentioned before, we could create our own custom shortcuts using shell variables. In this example, I'll just create a temporary shell variable. And let's say this shortcut will go to the D1 directory. And so I'm going to just name it capital D1. Then D equals home guest D1. Just like that. Now let's just go quite deep into here, right? And now if I just do cd $D1, I'll go to the D1 directory. Yeah, I just created this temporary shell variable, and now it acts as a new shortcut which I could utilize. That was all the shortcuts I could think of. Now we're going to move on to the flags, and there's a disclaimer here, which is that these flags rarely get used because it's associated with symbolic links. This is mainly just out of pure interest. I don't think you'll commonly use this in practice. The first thing we got to do is create the symbolic link, and we could do that with this command, ln-s, then the original file we want to refer to, and let's make the original directory the dt directory, and then the link, let's just call it tilde link in this. So now when we do cd tilde link, we have two choices. We either want to go to link, this directory, or we want to go to the dt directory, and we look at how we could achieve one or the other with the flags I'm about to discuss. The first flag I'm going to talk about is the -L flag, and that stands for logical, and it forces symbolic links to be followed. So let's go over an example. cd -L tilde link. In this case, we'll end up in the link directory because again, this -L, it forces symbolic links to be followed. And by default, the cd command uses the -L command behind the scenes. So we actually don't need to use this -L flag, but it's useful for clarity in certain contexts. And I'm just going to quickly demonstrate this. If we did cd tilde link without the L flag, we achieve the same outcome, as you can see here. That leads us on to the second flag we could use, which is the -P flag. And the P stands for physical because it refers to the actual real directory structure on the disk. And when using the physical path, symbolic links are ignored and the true resolved path is used instead. So we travel to whatever directory the symlink directory is pointing to. Let's look at this for example. First, we need to go back to home. Now, if I do cd dash capital P tilde link, we'll end up in the D2 directory because that was the directory it was pointing to, if you remember when I did the setup, instead of the link directory itself, as you can see here. And we could just do pwd as well to see. The final flag I want to cover is the -e flag, and it's used to update the shell variable $? I'll just write the shell variable out here. So this is the shell variable which I'm referring to. And this variable holds the exit status of the last run command, where 0 means success and non-zero means failure. This variable is typically used for scripting and automation, and I think it's best to go through this by example. So in the example I'm about to show you, I'm going to simulate a scenario with two shell sessions running at once, where one shell deletes a directory that the other shell is currently inside. It's going to make more sense once we look into it. Okay, so I've set up the scenario I'm going to go through. In the first shell session, I'm going to create a new directory called new, and I'll just cd into there as so. Then in the second session, I'm going to delete it. And as you're going to see, this is going to cause some funny behavior to happen because this session is now in a directory that's been deleted. If we did cd dash capital P dot, which means to cd into the current, to stay in the current directory basically, you'll see this error here, which makes sense. But if we did echo $? You'll see that the exit status is 0, which doesn't really make much sense. But if we did cd dash p e dot, so same command, but now we include the e. Oh, sorry. We still get the same output as before, but the difference is that if we look at this shell variable, you'll see that exit status is now 1, meaning that it identified the error, unlike previously here. Okay, so the question we've got then is, why is this command making the $? Variable 0, but this command, when you include e, it's outputting as 1. So basically, why is this not outputting 1 as well? Because we just seen an error, right? So it should be a 1 here, not 0. 0 means success. What the system is saying behind the scenes when we use this command is it's basically saying, well, you're technically already in that directory, so even though I can't resolve the full path, I'm not going to treat it as a fatal error, and so it's just going to say success. But if we include the e flag, we're saying, okay, be more strict, and so because it's being more strict, it's saying, okay, I can't resolve the full path, so I'm gonna throw an error. And that's basically why we're seeing the behavior we are in this scenario. Yeah, so that's everything I wanted to go over.